You are listening to Diasporic music on Black Power 96 with Melinda Francis, Norman Richmond, and Lisa Watson is on the buttons, and we are in fundraising mode, and we're getting ready to listen to our special guest, Tien Providence of the Jazz Zone, and we are once again attempting to raise $500 for Diasporic music, and we want to raise $10,000 for Black Power 96 because you are listening to information. I should say we play news that you can use and songs that you can trust, and we are calling on our supporters, people that support Diasporic music and support Black Power 96 to come to help a brother and a sister, help a sister, help a brother out, help a comrade out. And Melinda, is there anything else you'd like to say before we go to Tien?
Yeah, I wanted to shout out DJ Asada, who's sort of like, she's part of the show as well. She sends us tracks. So I just want to give a shout out to DJ Asada, who is, an invisible member of the show. So want to give thanks to her. Also, yeah, you're about to hear interview we did with Tien. He's been on the show for a while, and it's probably been a while since we've interviewed him. So yeah, listen to that, and please donate now. Go to blackpower96.org/DM. Cash App is blackpower96, and the phone number is multitasking is 1-888-979-2796, and again it's 1-888-979-2796. And yeah, we will be back in an hour with Gerald Horn.
Uhuru, you are listening to Diasporic music on Black Power 96 with Melinda Francis, Norman Richmond, and we are joined on the line by Tien Providence, the host and producer of the Jazz Zone. And how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing fine. Came off a show this morning, so still feeling the early morning blues.
Mm-hmm. So we are raising funds for Black Power 96 in general and Diasporic music in particular. What are your thoughts on why should people support Diasporic music in particular and Black Power 96 in general?
Well, given the over the years of coming through community radio, you notice how important it is to people to hear an alternative voice. The difference from what the major corporation or corporate news would give you, find all of these extra things. So Diasporic music has been, over the years, coming from our last station right through now to Black Power Radio. I've been keeping that, giving voices to people who you wouldn't hear on let's say, corporate radio, or giving their opinion of what's happening in the news. And Black Power Radio is based in the U.S., and given the situation with the even corporate radio bowing to the president now, it's become even more important to support independent voices like yours and the radio station that gives you airtime.
We should say, it's like ours because you're very important. Very important.
Like ours, yes, yeah, all right. Yes, that's your point, yes. Like ours. Yes,
yeah, you are part of the show. You've been I mean, we've been playing Jazz Zone for for probably a good couple of years now, or even longer. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, yeah, I think we started after the pandemic, right? Something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
When we
Yeah.
last,
Yeah. Or during the pandemic. I'm not quite sure.
yeah,
Let's
during
go
this
back.
time, yeah.
So, and yeah, maybe, before I get to that, actually, I want to let listeners know where they can go to donate. This is our July, fund drive, and, um, our show goal is like $500, and, our station goal is $10,000. And luckily, like, give thanks to, the ongoing, donations that we've gotten so far. We've gotten new ones, a bunch since last week.
Mm-hmm.
Give thanks to, Walter Turner from Richmond, California. We have James via the Cash App, who mentioned General Horn segment. E- Ezra in, Lauderdale, Florida, and Ethan in, North Kansas, Kansas City, and
Right.
who came into the show, via, the Horn Report. So give thanks to the so we're up to, 460, 76. And, as I said, I know I've been talking to, we didn't really make our goal last year. So I have an informal hope that we can make it till 800. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, so any amount counts, become a member. And to become a member, go to blackpower96.org/DM to donate directly to the show. And then of course if you are analog and you want to phone in your pledge, there are people, on the phones. And the number is 1-888-979-2796. Again, the number is 1-888-979-2796. And if you are stateside and you're on the Cash App, you could donate at, Black Power 96. So, yeah, keep on, become a member, become a sustainer. Um, all your proceeds, all the proceeds, or all the funding that we get to run the station comes from our listeners. So it's important that if you listen to the show and you think, you like what you hear and you want to keep it on the airways, please donate now. So yeah. So anyway, yeah, like, as I was saying before, Tien, we've, been playing the Jazz Zone for about, a few years now. And
Hmm.
it's kind of, we haven't really have you on the show. So yeah, maybe talk a little bit about how you got into the Jazz Zone, and just a little bit of the radio work that you do.
All right. Well, I got into the jazz zone back in the CKLN days, when I joined that community radio station to play the jazz. And the jazz zone was a takeoff of I got the name from a takeoff of the Twilight Zone, because I really loved the Twilight Zone at that time. And I figured, well, why do a show called the Jazz Zone? So that gives me the range. I have quite a wide range of music I could pick up, because it's so much. As Robert Glasper once said, why just play straight ahead when you could play anything else, right? Anything else you can afford. So that's where we started, and then the Jazz Zone grew. And after the Jazz Zone, after CKLN went through it, then it continued on here at Radio Regent, as part of the Regent Park Focus, another community-based nonprofit organization. So I've been on here, and been quite fortunate to now be able to do it at 8 hours of jazz for a week, because everybody else kind of left off and went somewhere else, right? So that's what it is. And my love of jazz is very great. Everybody knows that. But even back home, before I left the Caribbean, they used to call me the jazz man. So just kept going on with that. So it's a joy to do it, and especially to do the biographical shows that I do, like the one you guys we're gonna start on Sunday, right? With the Andy Bey, who I felt was very overlooked as a singer while he was alive.
Yeah.
Let me say
Okay.
that. I'm sorry. I wanted to ask you a question that jazz, black classical music or jazz, whatever they call it. I remember being in with a person from the Caribbean. He stepped on a calendar, a jazz calendar, and said that people in the Caribbean don't like jazz and don't listen to it. And then another brother, I remember the great Government Boots man.
That's right. Yeah, Calypsonian.
Calypsonian Gabby says that
Yes.
jazz started in St. Lucia, not in America. How do you respond to that?
Well, there's a lot of people love to stereotype and say things that I don't know anybody who would know everybody in the Caribbean and say that they don't. We look at the amount of Caribbean musicians that started, not like in 2000, but many, many years ago. In fact, Duke Ellington and those guys were influenced by Caribbean players back in the day, taking the style they have Caribbean festive because Duke soaked up everything he went wrong. I mean, he went to various places in the Middle East and he'd create music for that. So this is the whole thing. I mean, you had especially a lot of Jamaican musicians who in England brought the profile of that. As for the way jazz was founded, even there's an argument in America about who started this thing, right? About where it is. So I just kind of like dismiss statements like that as to where it was founded or what it is. What it is, it's here, and it's a great addition to the musical genre. A lot of the music in America is created from the Black community, so it's I really don't understand where to get these thoughts from.
We wanted to talk about. Go ahead, Melinda. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna add, like, how do it's like music goes around the world and comes back, and like, it's a continuum. How do you even say where the exact point it began, right? So I don't know. I agree with you.
But yes, nobody knows. Yeah, nobody knows. It's just here. People hear things, right? And everybody borrows. It's like some people borrow this and they borrow that and become something else, right? So it's really not important. The thing about it is that it is here and it is played and it's enjoyed by many, many people in the world.
You listen to Diasporic, but at the same time, I think that the imperialism has made one of the justices of imperialism is that the Negroes that they brought to America were a little bit slower. That fits into their narrative. That's why they can justify the treatment of the Negro, because the person that they brought to the United States a little bit slower. I've even had white. I remember when I wrote for the Toronto Star. There was a woman whose name I won't mention, Ann Moon, told me one time. She said that you know too much. Then she says that you. Yeah, you American Negroes were kind of slow, right? And I think that's the whole. That's the important narrative.
Well, that has been. I don't understand. I mean, people never seem to learn things, because I mean, even today, Black folks, if you speak good English, it's you speak so well. I mean, what they consider good English, right? If you speak with a different style from probably not as indigenous as it would be, they give you this thing. I mean, look at so it's so sometimes you just gotta as long as they don't try to hold you back. That is the major problem when they hold you back, because they stereotype you into a certain form of what they think it should be. So.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Melinda.
No, I was just saying that's why the show is called Diasporic Music.
You're right. Yeah, it's the diaspora, right? So,
Yeah.
I don't know if because I remember watching the Ken Burns classical, not on documentary on country music, and he went back to the roots and showed that the music came from a lot of the African American slaves at the time that were playing this form of music that wasn't totally understood, but that was the roots of country music. The banjo is an African instrument, and all of these things that so it's like it's people hear things and they grow on it. That's how it is. It's like you listen to something now and then you figure, oh, let's try and see what else we can do with this. So that's basically how the growth of music, how the growth of writing has become about. Anything artistic has been a collaboration.
I'll give you a joke. I was listening. I was looking at going through YouTube and listening to videos, and Hank Williams came up. You're cheating hard. Depends on. And I'm listening to this. I'm listening to this white dude, and I'm listening to about half an hour of his music, and I knew all the words to his songs. You know, and I'm saying, what? Woman, Mr. Black. So I called my sister. I said, Lorraine, what? I said, I was listening to Hank Williams, and I knew all the words to his song. And she busted out laughing. She said, every Saturday morning, Mama, my mother, Eliza Richmond, would turn on the TV, and the Grand Ole Opry from Shreveport, Louisiana, listen to every Sunday, and every Sunday morning, and I basically forgot about that because I got
got radicalized.
I went to the mosque when I was 14 years old, so I was listening to the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. So I forgot about that.
But your brain muscle memory remember that, right?
Everybody else, I like Elvis, and I didn't like Pat Boone because Pat Boone was faking the funk, but I like Buddy. I like Buddy. I used to really love Buddy Holly.
Oh yeah, Buddy Holly, Pretty Woman, and stuff like that.
Buddy Holly was
Buddy was the one who did rock around the clock.
That was Bill Haley, I think.
Bill Haley in the comments, yeah. Bill Haley in the comments, yeah.
Buddy. Peggy Sue, Peggy C. I love you, oh Peggy. Peggy Sue, Peggy.
That's Pretty Woman. Yeah, he did Pretty Woman too. Yeah.
Yeah, Buddy Holly is out of Texas, right?
Yeah, with the glasses, with the squarish glasses. Yeah.
Yeah, that's him, right?
Yeah, Buddy Holly. Yeah. Yeah, he's also one of those guys who died tragically, like Otis Redding, and
he died in a plane crash, right?
Yeah.
We want to talk about Andy Bey. Now, Andrew Bey was named Andrew Weidman, and he was born in Newark, New Jersey. He's also the younger. He was the baby brother of Salome Bey and Geraldine Bey, and he was like his father was Andrew Weidman Sr., and he became a Muslim. He joined first. They were the first people to join the Moorish American Science Temple in Newark, New Jersey. Then they became Sunnis later. But go ahead.
Oh yes, because I was gonna say because when I was doing the bio, it said Moorish Science Temple of America, which is an offshoot of Islam. So I don't know if they called themselves Muslims at the time, but I guess they did.
The Moorish American Science Temple, they're still here. Yeah, they even have in Toronto.
Right. And the name Bey was adopted as part of that religion, right?
They take the name Bey or ELL.
Right. So yeah, Bey was taken. So as part of that, and of course, Andy, I think was Andy the only one who played? I think he's the only one that played piano in the family.
I
think he did. He was the one.
Well, he was the best. Well, I shouldn't say he was basically was the leader of I think they chose him as he was the most gifted.
Right. Yeah, he was like a earlier Michael Jackson in terms of being the youngest at the time coming through. Yeah, coming through and playing with that. But I find that for a guy who had such a great voice, he did not get a lot of. I don't know if I was trying to read why he wasn't more prominent in terms of like labels like Verve or Impulse and those labels that were big at the time, right? Or even Blue Note. He never really was on those labels. And he spent a lot of his time working on smaller labels like Evidence Records and Jazzette. High Note was, I guess, the high point of his career in terms of the labels that would have to put money behind him. So, but yeah, so that was a little. So he did work with a lot of great people, including with Kenny Burrell and Milton and those cats, right? But I think that he really needed. Because I listened to his voice and listened to there's a bunch of younger cats that now coming through that are descendants of this guy without like you could hear the influence that he had on them.
Part of it probably was he was gay. That had a lot. I think that had a lot to do with it, sir.
Well, I think that came out in '94 when he was diagnosed with HIV.
HIV.
Yeah. So I don't know if that he was out before. So I don't know if they were.
Yeah, he was openly. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
He was openly out there. So okay. Yeah. All right, because he was recording since 1974, so it was a little, I kind of find out that it was kind of strange, and there was like big gaps when he did 74, and then the next album came out in 91, right? So that's like 25 years there, or something like that. 27 years between his first album and his second album. So it's quite a lot of time, right? He was more prolific in the 2000s. As I said, because High Note picked him up in 2013, and he released 2 albums in a row. So, but then he did a lot of great work in terms of his work with Horace Silver was amazing. You know that album he did with Horace Silver, right?
They did. They did quite a. They did. There's a beautiful on YouTube. You can see. There was a TV show. Tony Brown's Journal, I think, and the Salome Bey and Horace. Well, then they're on that particular TV show.
Right. Yeah, he was. Well, yeah, he did a lot of work, and he actually was a teacher also, as part of his. His heart really wasn't into it, but as part of something he did for a living. So. But he really didn't think he could teach people to be great singers. So, yeah, he did. I think basically, I think his music is still to be discovered.
Don't you think he was a little bit ahead of his? Not a little bit, way ahead of his time.
He was in terms of the choices of musicians that he joined to work with. His work with children with Stanley Clarke. Is like, wow, you know what I mean? It's like he did that, and then he also worked with Gary Bartz with the Harlem Bush music pieces. He also did, which was broken down into 2, Uhuru and Haifa. He did for Milestone, but I was on the Gary Bartz name and the NTU label. So yeah, he had he didn't see himself as just a one style of singer, right? He crossed over. He did a lot of his stuff. He did like what's his name? Roy Hargrove did in when Roy Hargrove came with the RH Factor, stuff like that, where he changed up and he created that whole new groove. So he was in that trend. But I get at this point in time to be creative like that, you have to have some money behind it to really make a noise, right? So it, I think that was one of the problems. But his album American Song was really such a beautiful album. I don't know if he won the Grammy for that, but he was nominated.
Mm-hmm.
So he was nominated for that American Song album. And go ahead.
No, I cut you off.
Yeah, so one of the albums I discovered also when I was doing it was Tuesdays in Chinatown. Another brilliant album. It was done on a label called Encoded label. So yeah, there's so much to discover about the man still. So I hope people continue to listen to his work.
Now, Gary Bartz was living in California for quite a while, and I remember meeting him in California in the late '70s, and he was they were into the I guess there was a period when they went through the really the Afrocentric Afrocentric.
Yeah.
And that's when Andy and he were hooked up on the Huru. Could you talk about that period?
Yeah, that period when he did the Huru, that's what's called I think I'm trying to remember the name of Gary Bart's band at the time. I think it's New Troop something. At that time, they were together in that period. That's in the early '70s, and they did this album for Milestone Records, which was split into two, Taifa and Uhuru. And right after that, he went and did Juju Street Song. So at that point in time, they were doing a lot of the Afrocentric things, I guess a lot of folks, I don't know if he changed his name also, but remember that period in Herbie Hancock, all them changed their names to an African type sounding name to.
So that's why that's when.
So yeah, that period of time was that when they were working. But then I think he left the States sometime after that, and he went to Europe for a while.
Was it Mtume Umoja Ensemble? Was that the name of his group?
But he worked with Mtume. He worked with Mtume, after. But that was again, Alex. I had some problems saying the first part of the name is Alec Kabulan, Land of the Blacks, Live at the East. That is an album that
Cable Land supposed to be the real name. Yeah, Cable Land. That was the first. That's Land of the Blacks. Cable Land is supposed to be the real name of Africa, right?
Okay. Well, that's how it is. Cable Land. All right.
Okay. A cable. Yeah.
Cable Land.
/LAND. Yeah.
Land of the Blacks. Yes, and they did a live performance that was. I would have really liked to see that because I reviewed the album. It was really like they were just getting into everything. Kind of touched on Sun Ra and a lot of the old stuff that they were doing, like what Sun Ra. So that the period when Sun Ra was rolled with the orchestra too, right? And what was that movie that they did where they were taking Blacks to this land way out in the sky? I forgot the name of the movie, but yeah. So this was that was this very political and Afrocentric period. Yeah, the early '70s.
I remember seeing Sun Ra and do that play with Amiri Baraka. I saw that in Harlem once. I'll never forget that as long as I live. Sun Ra did that play on Amiri Baraka's play. I think was it Black Mass or something like that? I can't remember.
I think it was Black Man. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Black Mass, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was. I've seen that. Yeah.
Yes. And he also worked, a little before that, he worked with Max Roach. He did that one album with Max Roach called Members Don't Get Weary, where he was the lead vocal on the title track. And that was in '68. So that was the beginning of that period that he went through. And even the album that he did. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I cut you.
I said even the album that he did with Horace Silver, which came in 1970, was the beginning of that United States of Mind when they trying. Like he was getting also he was working with health foods at that time because they were talking about how we should take care of your body in those albums on those tracks. Music to ease your disease and stuff like that came out 2 years later, but I think it was recorded around the same time, but it didn't release it for years.
Oh, okay. So I have a clarification of what the film is called. It's called Space in the Place. And it was
Space is the Place. That was
and it was written by Sunron performed. It was directed by John Connie. And it's like an Afro-futurist, like one of the first Afro-futurists. How do you say it? Futurists.
Afrofuturistic. Afrofuturistic, yeah.
Yeah. It's like one of the first, like, science fiction kind of. So I've seen clips of it. I haven't seen the whole thing. It's like an 85-minute. Yeah. So yeah.
So sometimes I wonder if who directed Star Wars actually saw that before because that Vader reminded me. You know what I mean? I'm like just thinking to the future rather than the cover. Wasn't it George Lucas? Yes. I'd like to actually if you ever saw that movie.
Probably did, because it was in.
Because
it was in 74. You know when I think Star Wars was in 77 or something.
Right, yeah. And these were very independent movies, and a lot of these, because at the time Lucas and those guys were considered the radicals, and they were looking at a lot of different things, right? I mean, Lucas, Scorsese, and those guys, yeah. That was at that time they were the next generation.
Yeah, that was the independent movement in the 70s, right? So.
Yeah. So I would love to have his take on that movie. I believe he saw it. I do believe that.